Just focus. Today on Fortitude Through Stoicism, and this is my 365-day journey of implementing the ancient philosophy of Stoicism into the life of this modern masculine man. No blame, just focus. This ties into my living above the mindset line speech that I give all the time. The quote today by Epictetus: "You must stop blaming God and not blame any person. You must completely control your desire and shift your avoidance to what lies within your reasoned choice. You must no longer feel anger, resentment, envy, or regret." And I was thinking about this the other day because I was listening to somebody talk about wounded masculine energy and healthy masculine energy. They always talk about people need to do the work, they need to heal, but they never really say what that looks like or how. So for me, I'm going to give an example, right? Because so much of my life, I blamed my father, right, for not being there, not teaching me the things, all the things, right? I blame my father for everything my whole life, and I put so much anger and so much energy into that. And yes, as we know, when you have a traumatic childhood, there are things that you do in life to prove, right? So one could argue, oh, I'm so driven to prove, my father wrong. It's a logic statement. However, I know my personality profiling type. I know that I'm a high D. A lot of this is the way that I'm born. Now, there's nature and there's nurture. Some of the things that, yes, some of my traumas early on were because of my childhood. So what does that look like? I don't blame my father anymore. Hell, now that I am one, I've had my own challenges with my own children, I understand. I wrote him a long thing and I said, I get it. I get it. And I apologize to him for the way that I treated him for a lot of years. Listen, we're all human. We are just doing the best we can. And everyone thinks that just because you're a parent, you have this, this playbook that you're supposed to not get anything wrong. And like your kids hold you to this level that is just simply not possible. And so what does healing look like? I don't resent my father anymore. I'm not angry towards my father anymore. I understand him. And I have a love and appreciation of the man he is and the things that he's done in this life. We are more things than just a parent. That is just one of the very small things that we do in this world. And remember, that's kind of instinctual. I mean, we're meant to procreate. It's kind of in our wiring, so it's not really like, you did a fucking amazing thing. It's like 7 billion other people on the planet can have babies too, but like, it's how we live our life, right? And I'm gonna make a reference to Nelson Mandela after I finish this point with my father. But when my mom died, my father and I were riding around together. I think we got a drink. And he told me how much he appreciated my mother for raising, his 2 sons to be such good men. And, I realized that all the years my parents were together, they're separated. Really, my entire life. I mean, my dad left when I was 3. In that car, I asked him a question. I said, Dad, how come you never talk shit about Mom? I said, all the shit she said about you. He goes, I love your mother. I respect her. She raised my boys. And it's tough because as a man who at that point hated my father, how can you not love that about him? One more point. I found out late in life that I had a sister that I didn't know anything about from my mother. Normally comes from my father's side, right? But no, my mom, of all things, had a daughter. Vietnam story, she got pregnant. You know, my grandfather freaked out, sent her to New York City, made her give it up for adoption. No one knew this. My mom died, so all this came out after my mom was long gone. The only people that knew about it was my grandfather and my grandmother, because sent her there. My mother's 6 brothers and sisters total, none of them knew. After this all came out, long said and done, my brother and I are sitting there with my dad. He goes, yeah, I knew. My brother and I we look at each other, we look at him, we're like, what the fuck do you mean you knew, Dad? You didn't tell us all these years? How could you not tell us? He goes, your mother asked me not to tell anyone. As someone who appreciates loyalty and respect like I do, how can you not respect a man that holds a secret his entire life as juicy as that? Held a secret for a woman that spent her entire life talking shit about him. Never blamed her, not once. He just focused on living his life. Now, I was just going to use Nelson Mandela as an example of no blame, just focused. But holy shit, as I'm telling the story of my own father and how I've overcome my trauma by understanding, right? Putting my emotions aside, using critical thought, and actually understanding. But moreover, forgiving. That's how you deal with this. It's not easy because when that stuff starts to surface, it hurts. I mean, you see it brought tears in my eyes. We're talking about stuff long in the rearview mirror. I forgave my father. I love my father. But what he did was he just focused his life and never talked shit about my mom, never blamed her for anything. If that is not the example of the day, I don't know what is. But on that, I gotta get my butt to the gym.